Hi. This is second book, Financial Surrealists Take the Train. That's cover art by Robert Liberace. Linear Arts, 2000. Financial Surrealists Take the Train. The dining car of a train pulls in along the tracks to the loading bay of a supermarket to purchase perishables for a long distance. 5 people, 2 twin brothers and 3 girls, form a momentary full house. The orange-jacketed brothers remain a pair, and the girls 3 of a kind. Then Mitzi Gaynor appears to hand off glitzy rhinestone baubles to the dreamer who summoned her to appear. In the Venetian's indoor swimming pool, lounging behind the mirrored bar, are Whirlpool VIPs seeing their reflections in the heavily adorned bar. The waves are rich with disorient, Emporium Borealis. The waves were rich with disorient, Emporial Borealis. The great surrealists of this nation are not the poets and painters, but rather those engaged in the high art of the write-off. Houston Street possessed a rich culture of traffic islands, with waves of traffic possessed of a rich culture of gardens and artifacts, stepping over dichotomies and hypocrisies to open new markets and give great speeches on commerce. The dining train pulls in along the tracks to the loading bay of a supermarket to purchase perishables for a long-distance trip. You could have a show of watercolors at the National Arts Club where they keep live snakes in jars, but then you have gotten used to the fact by now that I can make it spring forth from formaldehyde. The summer is long, like a motorized escapade through a Poisson landscape, and at night cars travel on bandwidths of shadow as interchangeable phaetons of hue in a Rothko. The unidentified building being built in Yonkers turned out to be a Home Depot. Water seeps into rocks, washes out onto islands, navigation canceled. Writing text for a Marcel Duchamp website, I go in to see the programmer who sends me to work with a woman. A still life with a black bottle and an orange in a silver dish under a yellow sky, a still life of tree receptacles of differing volumes on the sidewalk of a giant strip mall, squat or statuesque, rock-encrusted cylinders holding trees and mulch under Long Island skies. You are an ogreous application of the Human Personality Program, uploaded with a file for my destruction, or a simulacrum of my previous self, rearranged so you can gain the love, money, and affection I will not be afforded. I dream that I am talking to 3 literary agents who not only diss another agent for whom I once worked, but tell me when I hand them an article I had written in a newsletter published by a gallery in Virginia that it does not qualify as an adequate sample of my writing because the establishment holds a steakhouse through the very same doors. Sleepwalking trial ends in guilty verdict, says the internet headline. What was he guilty of? Sleepwalking and not premeditated murder? Sit for 5 hours and risk blood clots in your legs. Well, if you were up sleepwalking and cutting throats, then this probably would not happen to you. I dream of a former landlord where, living at his house, I lived under the filmmaker Ethan Coen, who was never home. The landlord who bounced me for not making enough money in a lifestyle he described as incompatible to his decrepit Springer Spaniels sitting around, rolling around in themselves. He wrote financial textbooks, dated some woman, and in the basement apartment lived the maker Ben Barinholtz. And I cannot remember if this dream when I changed my shorts while sitting next to Catherine Arnaldi, while sitting across and first being introduced to Katharine Hepburn. Sure enough, I have not seen the man for more than a half score of years, and even though I must not really like him, I ask him if he's okay. Financial surrealists take the train, angry painters take the bus. There we are, 4 men, with 2 seats for each one, worry with the process of arrival and departure, doing what we need to ensure our way, even if we are tired of each other, on the same road nevertheless. I balloons lift effortlessly on a cloud of hot air, carrying words like trail and excuses, downloaded into the minds of those who form pictures and pixels. A soft wind of tequila carried a lemon blue billow across the cocktail table, carrying the word digital over its shoulder. I dream of people commuter shopping or in hotel shuttles, chauffeured and air conditioning. We often visit the avenues, Lexington, Madison Park, from Staten Island. Or, we live out on Gardiner's Island. There are lots of small islands out in the river, just beyond Roosevelt, that is. The Big Fish Island gave birth to the Small Fish Island. We were left to drift off forever, sun-drenched in the sea. Here I am on the Performing Arts Journal cruise with guest speaker Max Blagg, and there is an all-male chorus line which soon breaks into an edition of Fever. There is a theater on the boat. I am downstairs in the upper-tier balcony. I remember its Fords. Ice cream cake logs roll on into the station. Skating on the tracks, electric icing gliding, melting doorways sliding, entryways to containers of frozen molded dessert, compartmentalized facades of ice cream cake frontage, whirls of cake and crystalline milk spiraling off into a refreshing infinity. A perfect old hot at the premiere party 4, where bottles of the pump spray in bright lipstick red with gold script on aqueous counters and red and white wine served by a bevy of models. This way, the arrow points to empty team, an alternate route to the shopping mall poem. The railroad conductor board becoming bicycle gloved man reeling in thought or like their overdrive. I stare into a dollar bill receiver, the roulette wheel, digitized by my eyes. How do you explain the possible to the impossible? You are an incorrigible lobster, not play hockey, even if your claw had extensive surgery. Lobsters phone each other on lobster phones to find no crustacean, only humans home. Finishing a seaside hockey match in heavy vermilion armor, he is rolled off the rink. He was forced into a lobster and made to play against a crab. A copper green purple bird flies into my room. Oh no, it's an Oreo colored gargoyle. Oh shucks. Was to have been a thoroughbred, thoroughly bred, got laid in transit, wound up as a populist instead. Crustaceolaceous, Ipswich, upswitch, changes with who makes the train switch, or which son of a bitch is the harness man who has the tracks laid down upon him, and his heavy metal sister crossed by rails, and the interstices of interchanges with which way to switch, from way to the bitch, uptown, downtown, upswitch, will switch cross town, and away with. I summon a representative of the loan shark service. If I borrow $40, I must pay you back $32. Wait. I summon a representative of the visiting loan shark service. If I borrow $40, I must pay you back $52. Let's see, I have 35. Here, let me count, and I can give you all 30. Nah, I'll do 40. As the large man with a gray kangaroo hat and wearing a suit goes back to his sedan, the executrix and her nephew are standing at the door, she smirking for my need of such services. Good God, honest to badness, goodness honest. Want to swim off les îles de pigeon and reclaim honest. Thought the fire extinguisher was a telephone. Tractor drive-bys of high impact, ready to implode fireworks. The mermaids were fever. Mitzi Gaynor was singing fever. Lucien Goldberg's husband was singing fever. I dream of seeing the white-haired founder of the Paris Review with a diminutive constructivist soda can flattener, cream-haired colored septuagenarian, friend of the flamboyant abstractionist, and the former tells me to go to the club. It's nice to see you, to see a clown. No, go to the club, to see the clown. Cannot help but think that the clown is I. When I die, I shall be buried in a Ralph Lauren coffin, a gold leaf with a mallet in hand, riding in an insignious stallion right into the next from its lid. This is how I want to be remembered, leaving a car in a parking lot in khaki shorts and one of the mogul's shirts, en route to wait for restaurant reservations, engaged in some activity that retains some importance somehow, like a fish out of water or a bitching fairy on an unpeopled prairie, like a canary without a coal mine, like a coal mine without a canary, like a shriek without a siren, or a screech without a banshee, as if a satanic rapper, or just a satanic rapper, or just a Darth without his maul, growing upturned braids of asparagus hair. The James gang rides swiftly alongside the elaborately decorated sleeping car of the financial surrealists, their stallions kicking up dust storms as revolvers go off, kicking off questions like, why does one person trying to jumpstart the board deserve to be a trillionaire, while the richest peacetime economy in human history will not even guarantee health care? Business at the speed of born to be bought. Welcome to a world without objects, only the invisibility of information and information on invisibility. Having just got back to pedantic city, thoughts of still life, life still follow me home. Formalistic actors on the stage of Colorfield, if chromatic Mozart were to extend his vocabulary to 12 vessels and vases of black graphite, were to stand and pose under a blood-red sky, as whereby models shedding their clothes in a fashion show divestiture of reason another season, some resemblance to the question of why. Hands, arms, shoulders, breasts, waist, hips and thighs, raise arms, up hands, then drop to sides. Welcome to pedantic city, where once the speedboats of the sky were parked, with a shrimp limp, with a Library of Congress yacht, and now the Performing Arts Journal boat. Oh, unreal city, oh, unbearable city, oh, downtown bonkers, oh, city and its mayor T.S. Saltwater tap, rolling chairs in the sea air, professional formalists come to ask how full is their glass of beer. Went to work for the Riddler for a while in the quedazzle of a question mark, the quintessence of a frozen over freeze frame. Does the virtual Zamboni come out in a couple of hours and gloss over that smile attachment linked up with your face? And if Satan were a baseball umpire and Major League Baseball allowed him to wear scarlet, then there he is protected by all the padded strike caller's enhanced superstructure, sent in to protect you from everybody from Walter Johnson to Grandmaster Harold Bloom, from B. Helen Vendler, David Lehman, Charlie Finch, Gordon Lish, Brett Ellis, Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Tug McGraw, Early Wynn, Christensen, Tom Seaver, Steve Carlton, Jim Palmer, Robin Roberts, Don Drysdale, Whitey Ford, Mel Stottlemyre, Jill Hoffman, Brendan Lorber, Berlin, Bob Gibson, Jerry Kuzman, John Madelack, Don Gullett, Sparky Lyle, Goose Gossage, Sal Magley, Catfish Hunter, Sidney Zion, Goldberg, the Cyber Riddler, Don Newcomb, Dan Quisenberry, Raleigh Finger, Vita Blue, Blue Moon Odom, and Kodaks. Sitting in the basement with a low-end music provider, whether it makes a USA Today of Suck Down the Drain. Premier poetic powers are preparing to sit down and play Pomopoly, both in Pomotopolis and Pedantic City. Meanwhile, in Pomotopolis, T.S. was scared of a sign announcing the cartoon opera Scared of the Opera, starring some female relation of Bugs Bunny. But I am just scared of going to the opera and being scared of T.S., never mind T.S. being scared of being scared by the opera. Meanwhile, in Pit City, Mayor T.S., Mr. and Mrs. Bugs Bunny, B.H., G.P., and 70 Sam are riding around the Warner Brothers studio store on an animated roadster and forming possible teams for a game of Pomopoly to be played later in Pomotopolis. Meanwhile, at a long-distance co-op, perishables purchased previously can be eaten, but not non-perishables cannot even, if not told, or are told, you can eat everything in the refrigerator. Do you imagine that offering to the cabinets? What exactly are perishables, and how do we perish our existence? Sitting at the window of a train, waiting for a ride we need to go on, to go off, while we are nibbling soda crackers, are we like golden peppers decaying after being harvested, severed from our direct link to the earth, in bags, celery stalks filled with water, strings of vegetal dental floss, perishables for a long-distance trip? Going swimming or diving in a canister of oysters, if a whole chorus line, doubtful that they would be singing Fever there. Ziploc bags of celery or radishes, you can always afford perishables with cash on hand. Things which have a limited life expectancy must be sold before they grow old. Small purchases can function as an outgrowth of your outlook. Wine, oranges, bread, soda, and chocolate, bananas on the way to Toronto. You know I find nothing Canadian about New Jersey. I dream that people are dying of poison gas outside the sky, and then am arrested as a possible conspirator, cyber hacker. My name is on a clipboard list, though I am not formally charged. I am asked to testify. I refused, but a double-agent snack bar attendant offers me $500 Canadian or U.S. Again, I refused. Next, I am in a medieval bar, perhaps at the Inns of the Court. Two friends are there. First, Neil, dressed in courtier's clothes. He gestures that I deserve it and does me well. Then Roy and his friend, who are there having dinner. I ask him if he is going to stay for my trial, and he says that he will have to see. The judge is seated. In walks the barristers and court officials, their husbands and wives, all of whom then break into 2K the musical. It's the turn of the century, so please turn the page with me. My weaker eye, the left one, stares on the final full solar eclipse of the millennium into black glass obsidian, the exact stone absorbing all light like death on Tehuacan outside Mexico City 8 years before. Now I sleep to a video piece by Robert Smithson, who by helicopter is surveying spiral jetty. References made to multiple orbs and these suns and their reflections in the rocks and water. Financial surrealists take the train, they also take the bus. Whether it is from the Bronx to Winnipeg, or from Central Park West to the Galapagos, and everybody stops in the Azores. Those in participation, without verification, like to diffuse themselves in transportation. While we'll perish, we must surely cherish. The Chang rides swiftly alongside the elaborately decorated sleeping car of the financial surrealists, their stallions kicking up dust storms as revolve off, shooting off questions like, why does one person trying to jump the Borg deserve to be a trillionaire, while the richest peacetime economy in human history will not even guarantee health care? Though this time the horses are swift enough to catch the train and the bandits board, they pass over the baseball umpire and the internet microbrewer and go right for the world's foremost geek. Mr. Floppy Head, your money or your life. I have no cash on hand, but I will sign my entire portfolio over to you for health care, only to be accessed once I die. Just as surely as my father will leave me an acre and a half of land in the suburbs. He does not have. Thank you.